The sudden death of former President Benigno Noynoy Aquino III shocked the nation as a whole and left the country grieving. Sa statement ni Pinky Aquino, isa sa mga Aquino sisters, Noynoy passed away in his sleep dulot ng kanyang renal failure secondary to diabetes. Kasabay ng balitang ito ay ang pag-ugong ng mga usapin nung panahon niya bilang presidente ng Pilipinas. Maraming Pilipino ay ang nagdala ng kanilang pakikiramay sa social media para sa pamilyang Aquino, pati na rin ang kanilang pagpuri sa administrasyong pinamunuan ni former President Noynoy. Gayunpaman, the news of his death didn't shield his name from criticisms, especially with the issues, controversies, and scandals during his administration. Which leads us to ask, what is the legacy that President Noynoy left us, and is this still relevant in our current political climate? Ako po si Pablo Joaquín, and you're watching The Breakdown. Born from the union of two prominent political families in his hometown of Tarlac, Noynoy Aquino is the only son among 5 children of Benigno Simeon Ninoy Aquino Jr. and Corazon Coanco Aquino, both of which ay kinikilala ng karamihan ng mga Pilipino bilang mga bayani at icons of Philippine democracy para sa kanilang kontribusyon to restore democracy nung panahon ng Marcos dictatorship. Pero maliban sa pagiging isang anak ng dalawang kilalang public servants, Noynoy himself got involved in Philippine politics, serving as 2nd District Representative of Tarlac for 3 consecutive terms simula noong 1998. Dagdag pa rito, siya ay naging Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives from 2004 to 2006 at naging senador noong 2007 hanggang 2010. With the passing of his mother, former President Cory Aquino in 2009, the public's clamor na humiyakat kay Noynoy na tumakbo bilang Pangulo sa 2010 elections ay lumakas. Many would attribute this to what we now call the Cory magic, na sinasabing dahilan rin ng pagkakaisa ng mga tao noong 1987 People Power Revolution with the same hopes for a new leadership. Dahil dito, Noynoy Aquino replaced Mar Rojas as the Liberal Party's bet for the 2010 presidential elections. At nang dumating na nga ang resulta ng nasasabing eleksyon, he became the first bachelor president in the history of Philippine politics until 2016. Sa ilalim ng administrasyon ni PNoy, the country found itself thriving economically. Halimbawa dito ay ang pag-expand ng programang 4 Ps, kung saan ang coverage noon ay 768,000 households lamang ay naging 1.1 million households sa loob lamang ng kanyang unang taon. Ilan sa mga naging paraan ng Administrasyong Aquino na mapabuti ang estado ng ating ekonomiya ay ang pagkakaroon ng mga batas tulad ng Sin Tax Reform Law na ni-restructure ang tax na sinisingil sa tobacco and alcohol products at ni-redirect ang revenue ng mga ito sa Department of Health, helping finance the Universal Healthcare Program. Dagdag pa rito, nagkaroon rin tayo ng Philippine Competition Act kung saan ang tatlong pangunahing layunin nito ay ang mga sumusunod. Una, ang maitaguyod ang free and fair competition sa kalakalan at iba pang industriya, kasama na rito ang micro, small and medium enterprises or MSMEs. Pangalawa ay ang maiwasan ang monopolyo na naging sanhi ng limitadong kompetisyon in the free market, and pangatlo, penalize all forms of anti-competitive practices. Furthermore, ang unemployment rate sa panahon ni PNoy ay bumaba mula 7.4% noong 2010 ay naging 5.4% lamang. Ito ay dahil sa expansion ng mga foreign firms kung saan ang mga trabaho nila ay na-outsource ang operations dito sa ating bansa. Sa administrasyon rin ni PNoy ay rumami ang ating mga trabaho locally na nagresulta sa pagbaba ng populasyon ng overseas Filipino workers or OFWs na pinapadala natin from 9.51 million in 2011 naging 9.07 in 2014. Karagdagan dito, sa simula ng kanyang administrasyon, Pinoy inherited 4.4 trillion pesos in debt. Para mapigilan ang paglaki ng utang na ito, Pinoy invested heavily in the local economy, essentially incentivizing the creation of businesses to fuel the economy. At dahil dito, Pinoy only incurred 2.2 trillion pesos in debt by the end of his administration. Sa termino rin ni Pinoy ay nag-flourish ang Pilipinas in terms of GDP growth, where the lowest growth rate recorded was during his second year, 2011, at 3.7%, and the highest recorded since the 1970s was during his first year, 2010, at 7.6%. In fact, between the years of 2010 and 2015, nasa 6.2% ang average GDP growth ng bansa taon-taon. Hindi madedenay na ang ganitong GDP growth reflects an improving economy. But our economy didn't stop there. In 2013, the country received an investment grade of BBB mula sa Fitch, isang international credit rating firm. Ibig sabihin nito ay naniniwala silang maaasahan ang Pilipinas na makakabayad sa mga utang na mai-incur nito. Ito ang unang beses na ang Pilipinas ay nakatanggap ng ganitong investment grade, and despite having been perceived as the sick man of Asia before. This meant na ang Pilipinas was considered to be a safe country to invest in dahil nga sa stability ng ekonomiya na kanilang nakikita. The Philippines at that point was considered the rising tiger of Asia. Given the stellar performance of the country under his administration in terms of GDP growth, it is also worth noting that the inflation rate during his term floats at only 1.4%. In 2009, ang dulong bahagi ng presidency ni President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, ang poverty incidences ay nasa 26.3%. Nang maluklok naman si Pinoy sa pwesto, ito ay makikitang bumaba through the years. Naging 25.8% ito sa unang bahagi ng 2014 hanggang sa naging 21.6% na lang ang estimate noong 2015 nang patapos na ang kanyang termino. Nonetheless, sa loob ng kanyang termino ay nabigyang pansin at halaga ang mga developments in infrastructure. Ang pag-upgrade sa mga public infrastructure ay isang pangunahing hamon na kinakaharap ng Pilipinas kung kaya't naglaan ng pondo at plano ang Administrasyong Aquino para tugunan ito. Nakitang solusyon ang PPP or Public-Private Partnership to finance, design, implement, and operate infrastructure facilities. Kabilang narito ang Cavitex at NAIA-X kung saan concession holder ang SMC, NAIA-X Corporation na subsidiary ng San Miguel Corporation. Ang Danghari SLEX Link Road, Muntinlupa to Cavite Expressway, and the implementation of automatic fare collection system for Metro Manila's train lines are also included in his project. Gayunpaman, ang iba sa mga projects na sinimulan sa administrasyon ni Pinoy were not completed within his time as president. Ang iba ay pinagpatuloy at nakumpleto nito na lamang during the current administration, which includes NLEX Harbor Link, C5 South Link Expressway, and LRT Line 2 East Extension Project, which was inaugurated last July 1 of this year. His initiatives at development did not end at economic activities and infrastructure. Dahil sa sektor naman ng edukasyon, pinirmahan niya ang Enhanced Basic Education Law o mas kilala bilang K-12 program. Ngayon, required na ang kindergarten education at may dagdag na 2 taon sa basic education, namely the senior high school program, kung saan students are free to choose their strands like STEM, ABM, HUMS, TechVoc, Sports, and etc. Ito ay para maging competitive sa international market ng mga trabaho, lalo na sa pagsulong ng ASEAN integration na nangyari rin sa ilalim ng administrasyon niya. In similar fashion for the health sector, Pinoy also signed the Reproductive Health Law or ang mas kinikilalang RH Law. Layunin nito magbigay ng pangkalahatang access ang mga Pilipino sa contraceptives, birth control, sex education, and family planning. Sa kabilang banda naman, Aquino also faced one of his biggest challenges in this sector, the Dengvaxia incidents. Inulungsad ang pagbabakuna ng Dengvaxia noong 2016 kasama ang Sanofi Pasteur as a form of immunization against dengue. However, several deaths allegedly occurred that is said to be related with the vaccines, and with the death of a 10-year-old girl, naghain ng kaso ang Public Attorney's Office against the government, Sanofi, and Zoelig Pharma na distributor ng vaccines despite the lack of scientific evidence. Hindi sapat ang impormasyon at pag-aaral to prove na nakakamatay nga ang Dengvaxia. Ngunit sa kabila nito, nagdulot ang mga insidenteng ito ng vaccine hesitancy among Filipinos. By 2017, at which point his presidency has ended, dumalo si Aquino sa isang Senate inquiry on the Dengvaxia issue at hinarap ang kasong graft kaugnay ng 3.5 billion pesos mass vaccination program kung saan hinihinalang pinabilis ang proseso ng procurement habang ang efficacy ng nasabing vaccine ay hindi pa daw nakumpirma ng mga eksperto at that time. However, by 2018, Noynoy Aquino was cleared by the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability and the Committee on Health ng House of Representatives, saying that the data proves that there was an increasing number of dengue cases at the time of PNoy's prioritization of Dengvaxia procurement. Ngayon, isa naman sa pinaka-controversial na usapin sa kasalukuyan ay ang West Philippine Sea. PNoy has been long praised for his courage to take China to court after prolonged harassment from Chinese vessels and illegal structures being erected in the area. In 2013, this complaint was lodged to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, with China, however, stating that they will not be participating in the tribunal. Ang hindi pag-participate ng China ay hindi naging hadlang para sa arbitral tribunal, which was established under the UNCLOS kung saan ang China at ang Pilipinas are both signatories to still look into the case and eventually ruling in favor of the Philippines on July 12, 2016. Sa kanilang desisyon, mayroon silang key rulings. Ito ang mga sumusunod. Una, ang 9-dash line na pinanghahawakan ng China claiming the rhetoric rights ay hindi valid dahil wala itong legal basis. Pangalawa, ang reclaimed lands na ipinatayo ng China sa bahagi ng karagatan na iyon do not constitute to an exclusive economic zone for them. Pangatlo, dahil na rin dito, the activities of China in this area are considered unlawful. Pang-apat, nagdulot rin ang mga land reclamations ng China ng pinsala sa kalikasan na naroroon. At ang panglima, nagpatuloy pa rin ang China sa kanilang land reclamations in the area as the disputes were in process. Ang ruling na ito is one of the widely recognized by other countries, lalo na ang mga member states ng United Nations. And in addition, this ruling is not just a win for the Philippines alone, as it also has implications on the territorial disputes of China with other countries tulad ng Vietnam, Taiwan, at Malaysia, given the fact that this ruling debunks the validity of the 9-dash line. In order to stave off the harassment from foreign threats, the Philippines and its longtime ally, the United States, have signed the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement on the 28th of April 2014, which is essentially an enhancement of the existing mutual defense treaty that has existed for over 50 plus years. This allowed the presence of US troops and assets to be in the country, however, barring the ability to create a permanent base, which has been beneficial to the development of the military of the Philippines. Ngunit hinarap din ng administrasyon niya ang Quirino hostage crisis, which albeit was a local issue, has caught the attention of several international entities as the hostages are of Hong Kong Chinese nationality. Given the criticized poor actions of the president at the time, nakatanggap ang Pilipinas ng negative reactions and repercussions from China and Hong Kong. Gaya na lamang ng pag-revoke ng visa perks o kaya naman ang pag-label sa Pilipinas bilang black outbound travel status. though these repercussions have mostly been lifted due to the visits of government officials, namely to Hong Kong, the same cannot be said to China as they have been appalled by the actions even after the situation has been dealt with. Sa kabilang banda, PNoy's administration has been primarily known for his tagline, Daang Matuwid, which included efforts to fight corruption and promote peace. Una na rito ang aktibong peace talks na naganap noong panahon niya between the national government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front or MILF. Dahil sa kanyang personal na involvement sa nasasabing efforts, ito ay nagbigay daan para sa developments ng Bangsamoro Basic Law, which was the precursor to the Bangsamoro Organic Law passed in 2018 that sought to provide self-determination for Muslims in Mindanao, as well as to address the concerns and grievances they were facing. However, one of the biggest issues under his administration was the Mama Sapano clash, more known as the SAF 44. Noong 2015, nagkaroon ng insidente sa pag-itan ng Special Action Force, MILF at BIFF sa Mama Sapano, Maguindanao, where 44 SAF members, 18 from the rebels, and 5 civilians were reported dead. Pagkatapos ng kanyang termino sa pagka-presidente, PNoy faced several charges with regards to this operation. The families of the bereaved were insisting instead that Aquino be charged with reckless imprudence resulting in multiple homicide. However, the Supreme Court denied this petition as they have found no probable cause para kasuhan ng reckless imprudence si PNoy. Kasama na rin si then PNP Chief Alan Purisima at si former PNP Special Action Force Head Getulio Napenas. Instead, kinasuhan si Aquino ng criminal charges for usurpation of authority sa ilalim ng revised Penal Code at violation ng Anti-Graft and Corruption Practices Act. Aquino's role? Ayon kay Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales, ang pagluklok kay PNP Chief Alan Purisima to play a major role kahit siya ay under preventive suspension. Idiniin ng Ombudsman na a public official under suspension is not allowed to perform any public function or to meddle sa mga government affairs. And even with these charges, naging cleared si Aquino as of July 5, 2019 nang maghain ng motion to withdraw si Ombudsman Samuel Martires patungkol sa graft and usurpation charges filed by his predecessor Conchita Carpio Morales. Ayon kay Martires, ito ay dahil the president cannot be charged of inducing someone to do something because he is the president. He can direct any civilian to help him. We cannot find the case. Yet another scandal that plagued the Aquino administration is regarding the Yolanda funds. Naglaan ng halos 25.6 billion para sa housing assistance ng mga pamilya sa Eastern at Western Visayas na biktima ng bagyong Yolanda noong 2013. Subalit, the administration failed to release the majority of the budget amounting to 20.7 billion noong 2016 and has remained unreleased funds. Ayon kay lawyer Leslie Cordero, pinakamalaking factor ang pagkukulang ng gobyerno to constantly inform the public kung saan ginagastos o napupunta ang nasasabing pondo. Sinabi rin na about 18,000 projects were approved and delivered sa loob ng kalahating taon. Ang issue dito though ay hindi nalaman ng publiko ang mga proyektong ito dahil sa mabagal na pag-release ng importanteng impormasyon tulad ng mga tapos ng proyekto, timelines, and programs already delivered. But contrary to the perception of many people na walang usad ng isyong ito, 85% of the Yolanda funds or 3.455 billion have been actually already been liquidated by July of 2019. As posted in the official website of DILG, the funds were used for projects such as rehabilitation and reconstruction of public markets, civic centers, barangay facilities, and others. Makikita rin doon kung magkano ang nakalaan para sa mga proyektong ito at kung aling departamento ang mga involved tulad ng DPWH. Ayon kay DILG Secretary Eduardo Año, the remaining 15% of the funds na hindi pa liquidated actually account for the projects that are still currently ongoing. However, Despite some of the weak points of Aquino's administration, hindi madedenay na nagkamalaking impact ang kanyang daang matuwid philosophy sa pag-prosecute ng mga iilang di umanong politiko na nangurakot. Isa sa mga malalaking pangalan na na-impeach sa pwesto noong Aquino administration ay si Chief Justice Renato Corona, na siyang kauna-unahang head of the Philippine Judiciary na na-impeach at nilitis. Dagdag na rin dito ang mga katulad nila Bong Revilla, Jinggoy Estrada at Juan Ponce Enrile na na-convict, kasama si Janet Lim Napoles dahil sa kani-kanilang involvement sa pork barrel scam kung saan umaabot sa 10 bilyong piso ng public funds ang nabulsa ng mga politiko. Sadly, however, by 2017 nang matapos ang termino ni Aquino, Jinggoy Estrada was released on bail and his plunder case still remains pending, with Bong Revilla being acquitted of plunder in the following year. More recently, the Sandigan Bayan even cleared Revilla's remaining graft cases nito lamang July 1, 2021. As for JPE, pinayagan siya to be out on bail by the Supreme Court as early as August of 2015 dahil sa estado ng kanyang kalusugan. At syempre, hindi rin natin makakalimutan ang kasong plunder against the predecessor and former professor of Noynoy, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, due to her misuse of state funds habang siya pa ang nakaupo sa pwesto. In a turn of events, however, she was acquitted in 2016 under the administration of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, even thanking him for providing the atmosphere in which the court had the freedom to acquit her. Speaking of the current administration, which faces widespread accusations of human rights violations issues, isa sa mga kritisismo towards the end of PNoy's presidency is his failure to fully actualize his promise of improving human rights situation in the Philippines. Ayon sa Human Rights Watch, despite the decrease in serious violations cases during PNoy's time, nagpatuloy pa rin na may insidente ng mga pagpatay ng mga aktivista within his term whose cases ay hindi naging matagumpay ang persecution. Dahil sa ganitong pamamahala na hindi nabibigyang hustisya ang mga biktima, hindi nawawakasan ang incidences of abuse. Iginiit nila na ang presidency ni Aquino ay puno lamang ng rhetoric against human rights violations such as extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances. Ngunit wala naman naging plataforma ang Pangulo in order to combat the cases of human rights violations. What PNoy did, however, was to launch efforts to give compensation to the victims of martial law and their families by signing the Human Rights Victims Reparation Act of 2013, kung saan ang layunin nito ay maibahagi ang 10 billion worth of ill-gotten wealth ng Marcos family among the Filipinos they have wronged. Tila ba isinabuhay ni PNoy ang kanyang no wangwang policy dahil sa pagkatapos ng kanyang termino at pagbalik niya in normal citizen life, hindi siya masyado gumawa ng ingay. Ito ay sumasalungat sa mga presidenteng nauna sa kanya tulad ni Erap na nanumbalik bilang mayor ng Maynila at ni GMA na naging Pampanga representative at House Speaker. Magkaiba ang branding at estilo ni President PNoy at ng ating kasalukuyang presidente, kung kaya't hindi natin may iwasan na ikumpara ang dalawa. Si PNoy ay nakilala bilang dissenting leader at statesman, kung saan ang kritisismo lamang sa kanya dati ay ang naantala niyang mga speeches dahil sa pag-ubo. Sa liderato ngayon, laman ng kanyang mga talumpati ay ang rape at sexist jokes, ang pagmumura at ang pambabastos. Sa retorika naman na kayo ang boss ko, ini-highlight ni PNoy ang demokratikong aspekto ng pagiging lingkod bayan, na ang representante ay inaasahang isulong ang interes ng kanyang mga pinaglilingkuran at siya ay pwedeng managot sa kanyang constituents. Sa usaping censorship naman, we can criticize before, but now there has been several crackdowns on government critics. Sinasabihan man siyang noy-noying bilang insulto, he just lets people get away with it. Ngayon, kahit constructive criticism ay nakaka-receive na ng harassment. Napaangat man ang ekonomiya, hininalaan rin for graft and corruption kaugnay ng Dengvaxia at Yolanda si PNoy. Naipaglaban man ang West Philippine Sea, may pagkukulang rin sa concrete actions against human rights violations. With that, the Aquinos remain to be polarizing personalities in Philippine culture and politics, and PNoy is not an exception. Sa muling pagbalik-tanaw sa kanyang administrasyon, some people praise him while recognizing the issues and shortcomings of his administration to the Filipino people. Gayunpaman, we cannot deny that PNoy is one of, if not the most consequential president in Philippine contemporary politics. At sa kanyang pagkamatay, muli ba nating makikita ang Aquino magic na nakita natin noong 2010 sa paparating na 2022 elections? There's only one way to find out, and that's to register and vote. Ako po si Pablo Joaquín. This was The Breakdown. Now you know.